Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to USC Postgame Live here on the Voice of College Football channel. I'm Tony Altimore here at our little temporary headquarters in South Florida, and we're going to be joined live from the Coliseum by Tim and LBC Trojan, who are right now getting everything squared away, and they're going to give you a live in-stadium update on the big result. Guys, you saw it on TV. How exciting was this? USC stuffed it to Fresno State, 45-17. Really a great game. Certainly a lot to work on. Nothing was quite what we hoped for on defense, but it was a lot of bend but don't break and came out strong for the Trojans in the end. What a great game. Fight on, guys. Now, our show tonight is really going to be about you guys. So we are all USC alumni, supporters, fans, season ticket holders. You got folks, like I said, live in the Coliseum. And so we're going to want to hear from you guys. You can engage with us in the chat. You can engage with us live. We're posting the link in just a moment. We want you guys to call in, tell us what you thought of the game, tell us your thoughts. And really, we want this to be a great opportunity for you guys to engage with each other and celebrate this really kind of exciting Trojan football season that we've got. So right now, we're gonna do some Pac-12 scores coming up that are gonna be interesting to chat about, because what a day it was in the Pac-12. But first, let's go live to the Coliseum. We got LBC. LBC, welcome to USC Postgame Live.
Hey, how you doing, Tony? Good to see you. The game was a roller coaster. It had a little bit of everything. It was great to see a defensive stand. We had a few good stops, but at the very end, the USC defense comes up big on 4th and short. We stopped them and preserved a 47-17 victory. A lot of the same things we saw before. We still have issues with the run, set the edge, but the bend but don't break mentality, several sacks. We had over 100 runners, touchdowns by both Travis Dye, Austin Jones, but a very big win, 45-17. I'm here with I'm here with a Trojan fan who wants to share his perspective. I'm going to pass you over to Evan.
Hi, okay. Evan. Well, we'd love it. Evan, welcome to the Voice of College Football. How are you tonight?
Can you hear what he's saying? Okay. Hold on a second.
All right. Guys, this is our first ever live in-stadium chat, so kind of exciting here. We've got Evan joining us. Evan's USC alum and fan right there in the field. Evan, welcome to the Voice of College Football. Tell us about the game.
I like the game a lot. I like the running game more than anything. You know Caleb's going to throw the ball pretty well, but to run it is a lot better than just to throw it.
Yeah, our running game looks fantastic. Go ahead, sorry, what did you say?
I like how the committee works. I like how the committee works. I like that we have multiple running backs. First, second, even third if we really needed to with injuries.
Yeah, it's good to have 3 great running backs. Now, our run defense, on the other hand, seemed to need a lot of work. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say all the big plays were off of runs, which is a good and a bad thing. I mean, the pass defense is doing better, not like at the big plays, but they're also getting up a lot of short out and slant routes, which is kind of an issue. They're kind of playing back more on the ball. But I think holding the big play on the run, besides that, they did a decent job. They did better than Stanford, I would say. But, you know, against the big teams, we'll see how it really comes down to.
Tell us about the game experience. How was it different from what fans have seen in past years?
This is the best game I've been to, I would say, in 5 years, besides USC Texas or the Rose Bowl. It was seriously packed. I've never seen anything like this. Besides a big game, like a bowl game or a rivalry game, I've never seen this just for a non-conference game. It was pretty insane.
That's awesome. What about we saw there's a lot more music, a lot more fun things before the game. It looked pretty wild.
Yeah, their promotion was really good. On the Instagram stories, they're promoting the lights out kind of theme. And I think they're doing a great job of marketing. Their marketing is really good. I think people show up because of that and because they're winning. If you win, they'll come.
Hey, if you build it, they will come. I like it. Now, where were you guys sitting? You guys were both in what, the Cardinal and Gold section on the
yeah.
press box side?
We're on the we're on the 20 on the away side.
Will you show the folks real quick? Just do a quick panorama of the stadium right now.
Yeah.
How exciting! That looks like the band post game going on. I love it.
Right over there.
Oh, I'm jealous. I wish I was with you guys. What about you guys in the chat? Now, tell us, Evan, what were the feeling among fans with all of the adventures going on in the Pac-12 today? We had Washington laid waste to Michigan State, Oregon demolished BYU, and we've got some chaos going in the desert. It looks like we wonder if Herm's going to be finished. What did folks think of the rest of the pack today?
Go Beavs.
I think I was watching the Notre Dame Cal game. I mean, Notre Dame isn't the best, but I think Cal looked really good. They were like a fumbled away from a tie. I think Oregon State did look pretty good. They're not playing the best of the
68
team,
points.
70 points. Yeah, you have to think that they'll do similar to us. So I think it's whoever scores more, to be honest. Just keep scoring. That's what I come away from that, yeah.
It was, and thanks to Sharice. It's exciting, and Sharice, congrats to your Buckeyes too. Oh my gosh, guys, be still our beating heart. Tell LBC, Darrell just predicted USC to the playoffs.
Oh my goodness, I heard that.
To the playoffs. I hate high expectations. I hate him.
We all do. But hey, this is coming from SEC fan number one. Thank you, Darrell. We appreciate it. We're glad to have you. Oh, and Connor, we're reading questions for your Beaver friend.
Oh,
whose side's he going to be on next game?
he has a question for you.
Oh, are we losing him here? Hey,
Cool. Your buddy's gonna go
we've got Beaver fans in the audience live right now asking what side are you going to be on for the game in Corvallis? Oh, it's gonna be quite a game.
We got our next opponent.
I like it. I like it. It's going to be quite a game. The pressure's already on College Game Day to see if they'll come out. We'll see if they do.
Yep.
What was kind of the reaction in the stadium when Hainer went down? Did it really deflate the energy?
Definitely brought down the energy. But then, USC got the fumble back, and fans were happy again. So it didn't kill the energy.
We'll take it. We can hear the band in the background. I love it. Tell LBC we've got Ducks fans chanting "We want USC" in our chat right now.
I mean, Georgia wants that. It goes everywhere.
I understand. At one point, the crowd was chanting, "We want Georgia," and the folks from USCFootball.com were reminding them, "No, you don't."
No, we don't.
No, we don't. We really don't. What a great night. Tell us from the fan experience was what's the deal? We got a DJ now, and we've got or is it really just the band continuing to do their normal thing?
I mean, the band does a lot more fans, a lot more crowd noise, but band still does their thing, right? Fans. And the DJ doesn't do as much, I would say.
Yeah. No.
DJ's role is definitely
Yeah.
important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Measured by student section. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, always filled.
Yep.
What? We can hear you. We can hear you.
When it starts like 7, I was like, this is crazy.
I think we're having a little bit of trouble. I think with the band noise. LBC, can you guys get closer to the mic?
Yeah. Let's see. Can you hear me?
Answering Larry Pilgrim. Yeah, Jake Hainer got hurt in the second quarter. Unfortunately, it doesn't look good. He was on crutches after the game. Jake Hainer is a favorite of everybody on our show, and so we're really hoping that he turns out to be all right. He's certainly. What is it? This is live. Looking out. Yeah, LBC.
Do you have any questions for our friend Dylan, the Oregon State fan? Any questions for him next for next week on the Beavers?
Well, we're getting questions right now. Connor Johnson's already wanting Beavers against an SEC opponent this season. Ask him what the game in Portland today looked like. A great win for the Beavers. They demolished. They won everything.
Did you see the Beaver game?
I didn't watch it.
No, but you saw the score.
Does he have a score prediction for us?
You have a score prediction
For
for?
the USC game?
Yeah.
Like 35-31 Oregon State.
Those are fighting words. I'll tell you, what an exciting game, though. I think USC fans and Oregon State fans are all going to be excited for that. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Probably maybe the best game ever on the Pac-12 network.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Your Ducks are talking some smack too. I like it.
Hey, let's give it up for both Dylan and Evan for joining us from the Coliseum.
Dylan and Evan, thank you guys for joining us live on the Voice of College Football. We're glad to have you.
All right, guys.
Thank you guys, and thanks LBC for finding them. What a night, guys! Tim Franklin's going to be joining us in a little bit as well.
Postgame show, and then you'll look for the for our show. It's Fresno State, and it'll be on there. All right, guys.
And
good meeting you. Good luck.
We're gonna put it right now. We're putting the link in the chat right now, guys. We love for you guys to join us. We've got LBC live in the Coliseum. I'm here live at USC Postgame headquarters, and we want to know what you guys thought of the USC game. It was quite a day, and quite a day again for the Pac-12.
I thought I'd give us a few fans get their perspective. We're heading out of the Coliseum, out to the parking lot, but we'll be with you the rest of the way.
Yeah. LBC's freezing up real quick.
College football.
Sorry, LBC. What'd you say? And Tim is joining us momentarily as well.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting Tim the link right now. Sorry, guys, about that. Tell us more. Can you hear me, LBC? Eric, why don't you call and join us? Okay, we got some guys here with us. Ava 409, it says device is not connected, but we've got Ian from Akron. Ian, welcome to USC Postgame Live. You're here with Tony and LBC live from the Coliseum.
I just want to say you guys are really awesome. What you've got doing this for like 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's our third one.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes,
God!
sir.
Why are you in Florida, Tony?
I switched between here and New York.
But not LA, just the other good spots.
No, actually, I left LA a long time ago when I moved overseas. But just go back sometimes for games.
Okay, so
And to see friends.
USC football is better than UCLA football, but I feel like UCLA girls are better than USC girls. Hey, I don't know if you have any backstory on that.
It's California. Everything's good.
Okay. Also, why would you be watching Pac-12 football when you could be watching Iowa versus Nevada? Right?
That's right. That game is still going. Isn't that game been going on for about 20 hours by now?
Yeah, and they scored 20 points. They score basically however many hours the game is. That's how many points they score in Iowa.
That's how many points they score. That game. Because what was that? That was a crazy delay in that game. I understand.
Yeah, that's what I heard, man. I was watching USC. Which I'd like to talk about just their receivers. But yeah, I don't know what happened. Why did it get delayed? No, we don't need to talk.
Lightning, I think.
Okay. So I was telling Mark, Ohio State's got the best wide receiver room in the country, but USC definitely has the second.
Hey, we'll take it. It's USC fans have had some dark years. And so this is certainly a nice change for us all, I think.
Yeah, so I was debating with him if UFC's wide receiver room might actually be better. And I'm an Ohio State fan over here, so calling a Pac-12 show. So I don't even know what I'm doing, but
we're glad to have you.
I enjoyed it. It was the first time I got to watch USC. Never liked them. Would never want to, but I can appreciate just not necessarily caring for a team and a program over the years, but seeing the squad they have. For instance, I've never liked Utah, but watching like Utah's squad last year, I was a fan of their team, just seeing the guys they had, and that's where it's like USC, what Lincoln Riley did over one off season, just bringing that whole squad in there. Like when I watched them come out tonight before the game started and they had all, whatever, the lights are off and they got the fire going, and you're like, if they did that last year, like you're coming out of the field for a night game, like there's no excitement. It looks like USC is back for college football, and USC needs to be a team in the landscape of college football that is relevant. You know what I mean? It needs to be a relevant team, and it feels good that they're back. As much as I'm not a fan, it was good to see them, and they just look really good, to be honest.
Thank you, and thanks to Charisse too. It's good, I think, for the sport when the West Coast is relevant, and we got LA excited. I don't know if you guys saw, it looked like there were about 5,000 people in the Rose Bowl today, but certainly it looked like a good crowd. I don't know, probably 60,000 in the Coliseum tonight.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought you guys only can hold about 48.
No, the Coliseum holds about 80. I think 79 after the renovation.
I'm just joking. I guess they've only had about 48 max in the last 5 years in attendance, but now maybe they're getting back.
Yeah, I think they usually get. We usually sell like in the 60s for seats, 50s and 60s. But last year, of course, was a debacle. But yeah, it's good that they're back. Well, thank you, Ian. We got Tim joining us live. Ian, thank you for calling in. We appreciate it. We hope to see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Fight on, and good luck to your Buckeyes.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, we've got Tim live. Tim, welcome. You on the road home? Can you hear us, Tim?
I can hear you. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. We got LBC's live in the Coliseum. You're on the way home. We're celebrating the game. What did you think about your watching today?
I've got a pretty bad echo on my end. You guys okay?
You're a little faint.
Yeah, no, I see it. You guys got a bad echo. I've got it on my end.
Yeah, you're echoing out. Do you want to come back out and come back in? All right. While you do that, Gixxer Squid, welcome. You're on the Voice of College Football. It's good to talk to you.
Oh, you're good.
Can you hear us? Gixxer, can you hear us? We're not hearing you, Gixxer. We'll bring you back out and put a note in the private chat if you get back where you can hear us again. All right, Tim, are you back?
Yeah, is that better?
Much better.
Sounds
so,
good.
Tim, we were just talking with a couple of fans on the game. Give us your quick take.
My quick take is exactly what I thought I was going to see in the game. I was pleased when you're going up against the 105th best defense in the country. I knew we were going to be able to put up yards. I really enjoyed the way the offensive line played. We had Bobby Haskins, who was filling in for actually they were splitting time so far this year with Cortland Ford. He went down. I got a bit nervous. He was out for one series, but he came back in. But it looked like he hurt his shoulder at the very end. I hope we can get one of those left tackles back for the game up in Corvallis. Otherwise, we might be in a bit of trouble. But overall, the running game was great. You had Addison and you had Williams get all of the attention in the offseason about being our. And if I had to give an MVP so far this year, I'm probably giving it to Travis.
Travis
Dye, yeah, he's been absolutely brilliant. Austin Jones also ran the ball really well. The problem I have, so I've got the nice things out of the way. is our run fits are terrible. Those gaps, none of that's been addressed. I was hoping every game we would get better. I know it's kind of hard to bitch about a defense that played well all night, but man, they're giving up these 40-yard, 50-yard runs all the time on the ground, and we're not going to be able to get away with that if we're playing up in Corvallis like that.
No, definitely not.
But I mean, overall, I'm very, very, very happy with the game. Everyone. On a side note, so before the game, Lincoln Riley's out there, and the crowd. It was strangely enough for a late game. It was a late arriving crowd, but everybody, you could feel the energy as soon as he started talking. The entire stadium just lit up. When he got done, the entire stadium cheered him through the tunnel with the team. It was an absolutely different atmosphere. I'm not saying that we're back to where we were in the 2002, at the end of 2002, all the way through that run about 2007, when I think they sold out every single game. We were rocking 93,000 at the Coliseum. But I will tell you this, the beginnings of that energy is there. Can we keep this win streak going? I do. I'm very, very pleased with the development from 1 year. I mean, think about it. A year ago, we were firing Clay Helton, and Oregon State is like running us out of our own Coliseum.
Guys, keep talking. I have to sign out for a sec. I'll be right back. Keep talking.
But the energy is there. The offensive line. I kept talking in the offseason to anyone that will listen to me that these national pundits were idiots. We have a great offensive line, and if we can keep them healthy, I think we're gonna do well this year. What do you think, Rick?
I agree. The offensive line was key. I agree with you, Tim. We still have to address the run game, the defensive run game. They're gashing us. Again, that has to do with our defensive line. But we showed signs of toughness when we got in the red zone. Case in point, the end of the game, we could have given it up and they could have scored another touchdown, but they didn't. We stopped them on the goal line, which was great. And who did that but Rajon Davis, who's like a third string middle linebacker. He came hard at the point of contact, stuffed the run. Miller Moss comes in and we run out the clock. So we preserved the 45-17 victory. Also at the end of the first half, credit to Jake Hayner. He gets a quick out, runs out of bounds, quick completion with 1 second left. So they set up a play, and he's running for his life back there, throws up the Hail Mary, and Jalen Smith picks it off. So we forced 2 turnovers, which was key. Fresno State came into this game with 0 turnovers. We have now, as a defense, created 10 turnovers in 3 games. So that's another positive.
Definitely.
Yeah, a small correction there. I'm not sure, but I think on the Hail Mary, they had Malcolm Epps, number 19. He's a tight end, and I think he came in, and I'm not sure, but I thought he came down with that ball. Is that?
Oh, was it Malcolm X? I thought I heard Jalen Smith.
I thought it was Epps.
I could be wrong, but I could be wrong, but I saw 19 and he was big. What's that?
I could be wrong too. I'm not sure exactly, but it does matter.
Yeah, but excellent. I mean, really awesome. I'm glad to hear Rajon Davis's name, man. He's a sophomore out of Mater Dei. Speaking of Mater Dei, there are a lot of guys shining from Mater Dei. Troll Bynum got his first catch. Oh, no, sorry, he's from Bosco. But you got in there. Ray League Brown got in there and had some nice run. That beautiful first run he had. It was like a pass to the flat to him. He just took off with it. So yeah, I mean, overall, really happy.
I like the way the fourth quarter we committed to the run. We're eating clock, and to see Austin Jones gets his helmet ripped off. They have to go for another play because the ball's whistled dead. He was in the end zone, but his helmet came off at the 3-yard line. A player on Fresno State ripped his helmet off, and it was good to see him get the ball back and then run in for the end zone. We had 200-yard rushers, and they both Dye and Austin Jones scored rushing TDs. So that was also good to see.
Yeah, it was really solid. I'll tell you on TV it looked solid. You sort of, I think the defense they had a lot of bend don't break, a little bit of sort of terrifying moments. But I think some of that is possibly us being a little wounded from past years. Tim, Joey is wondering, don't we think that Riley doesn't care about defense? I'll tell you, Joey, anybody that saw the USC defense last year, the difference in improvement from last year to this year is just off the charts amazing. So we're certainly glad for that. It's an amazing difference that we've seen.
I don't think it's as much. I don't think as much as he. I mean, let's all remember this. Riley doesn't coach the defense. Okay, he's the offensive mind. This is a young defense. It's a new system. The issues we're having are this: our secondary is solid. The issue we're having a great pass rush. Sacks. I think Tuipulotu got 2, and then Solomon Byrd got 2. If I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. And
let's wrap up the defense chat. We've got Eddie's joining us right now.
Okay, well we'll come back to it. Let's talk to Eddie.
Okay, Eddie, welcome. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, great game. I thought the defense played really well. So there are issues with the way the team is getting hit with big runs. And when you play a single gap defense that stunts as much as this defense does stunt, that's going to happen. The difference between this team and last year's team is the secondary is a lot faster than last year's team is. Those 30, 40-yard runs that are happening this year in last year's defense would have been touchdowns every time. We have enough speed in the backfield to be able to catch up to running backs. And when you play a single gap stunting defense, it's bend don't break, and you're gonna cause turnovers. You're gonna cause sacks. And like I said last week, and I think if you understand the way that Grinch wants to play defense with the skills he has, right? We aren't 350 pounds across a line that can run a 4.5. We are 265, 270. A lot of these guys are really quick, really explosive, true linebackers who've been converted to defensive linemen. If that's the defensive line you have to play this type of defense. You have to take one quick step, and if you get flushed out of the gap, you're going to pay for it. But if you don't, you're going to get sacks and you're going to cause turnovers. The other thing I told you guys, the giraffe is a threat. This Jake Hayner's like 5'3", 5'4". There's no way he's going to throw over the middle against our 7-foot linebacker.
Yeah, I think he's about like 6 foot. But go on.
Yeah, well, he says he's 6 foot. I say I'm 6 foot too. I'm 5'6". No, but this is, like I said, you're going to get flushed out, and they'll get better over time, hitting those gaps a little quicker. But these guys are playing really fast off that first step, and if they get trapped in a stunt, then yeah, they'll get flushed out. But if not, they're going to cause havoc in the backfield. The first half of the year, there's not a team on this schedule that is quick enough and strong enough to stop them, to really be able to run the ball on them effectively as much as they need to win the game. I mean, no one's going to be like even Utah. Utah is too thick in the ankles. They're not going to be quick enough. They're not going to be fast enough to keep up with this team. This team offensively had a horrible game and scored 45 points. This was a bad game, and they scored 45 points. If they were clicking, they would have scored 60. Next week, they're going to click, and they're going to score 50 points. And yeah, the Beavers are going to do great on the ground, and they'll score 28. And that's cool. And that's how it's going to be all year.
Definitely good points. I think you're right. Real quick, Tim, what do you think? What do you think about next week? Can you hear us, Tim? Oh, I think we lost Tim there for a minute. LBC, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So Eddie was talking about next week. What do you think? Is the defense going to be ready for the Beavers?
I think the defense will be ready for the Beavers. It's going to be a heck of a game. It's going to be different conditions because of Reeser. They're going to have half the capacity, but that crowd is going to be electric. We're both 3-0. They have a very big veteran offensive line. They're going to have a punishing run game, but Chance Nolan's going to have to prove that he can throw it up in the air as well. And we're a totally different team than last year.
Real quick, Eddie. Eddie, we lost you. Eddie, thank you very much for calling in. Ignacio, by the way, you're in the waiting room. It says your devices are not connected though, so you have to like enable the microphone, and then we can chat. We'd love to chat with you. Sorry, LBC. Go ahead.
I think something that we showed this week versus the first two games is ball control. That we can run the ball. Case in point, if you look at the first half, we had 22 minutes of possession to 11 minutes of possession for Fresno State. And that's attributed to the defense getting off the field and the offense, running the ball, controlling clock. That is something we didn't see in the first two games. So that's going to bode well that we can do it, because we're going to have to take that on the road and control the ball, keep it away from Oregon State. And so that's something that Oregon State's going to have to deal with. And I'm looking forward to seeing that contest next week.
Real quick, Connor Johnson just told me the scariest thing of all, whispering the word to me, Corvallis, which you guys always know. Guys, we've got Tide Guy live. Tide Guy, welcome to USC Postgame Live. We've got us here, and Rick was just on his way back from the Coliseum. Jeff, what did you think of the game? Oh, Jeff, can you hear us? Oh, I think we lost Jeff somehow. Gixer, you're back. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. What did you think of the USC game?
Hey, great game. Hopefully you can hear me okay, right?
We can get you. We got you now. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah, we're stuck on the 10. No, great game. I was just going to say, I think I threw it in the chat earlier, but, really, I thought the score was a little misleading. Fresno, I thought, did a really good job the first half. It seemed kind of tight.
Oh, can you hear us, Gixer? Did we lose you? Oh, I think we lost Gixer. Rick, can you hear us?
I got you. Can you hear me?
Okay, sorry, we lost Gixer. Gixer, it sounds like you went out of range or something. Join in, as soon as you guys get back in, and I'm going to put the link in the chat. Eddie had to grab dinner. Sorry, I'm going to put the link in the chat real quick, guys. We would love to have you tell us what you think of the USC game. And I think Tim is back. So again, guys, thank you guys for bearing with us with a little bit of patience. This is kind of fun. We got to have folks live from the Coliseum. We're going to try to do that for home games. I think it gave us kind of a neat little take here. Ben, who's joining us, it says your devices aren't connected. So I think you have to enable your microphone before we can add you, so we can chat. Tim, welcome back. Tim, what do you think about Oregon State coming up?
Well, I'm bummed out. I missed what. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm bummed out. I missed Eddie, man. Really love his calls, but he was talking a lot about the line play and the linebackers, and that's just it. That's that run fit that I'm talking about. It looks like I think the line's holding their job, but I just don't see a safety or a linebacker coming over and filling those gaps. So did you guys notice that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had a lot of gaps, but at the end of the day, they took care of business. And I mean, we saw the same thing with Washington. We saw the same thing with Oregon. Certainly, I don't think anything was perfect, but took care of business. And joining us, all right, we got Tide Guy back. Jeff, welcome back to USC Postgame Live.
Hey, my microphone's working now.
Hey, we'll take it.
Hey,
Jeff, what did you think of the SC game?
I told you guys earlier today, I didn't think you would give up 24 points. Your defense, yeah, it is giving up a few big plays, but, it's not as bad as it was last year. It's much improved. I do think, if you guys keep playing this way, you guys are going to keep rolling. The only bad news is the Pac-12 looked good today. I mean,
They
Washington
did,
looked
didn't
good.
they?
Oregon looked good. So, I mean, you know, hell, even Arizona looked good again. I mean, they beat North Dakota State. So,
What
Yeah.
are we going to do?
Yeah,
The
what
Big
we,
Ten
we,
West
yeah,
is better than the Pac-12.
except Arizona State lost to Eastern Michigan.
Well, I called that one.
What do you think? Is
ASU
we're gonna go through Tim, you're getting a lot of feedback, so I'm gonna mute you when you unmute when you want to chat.
Okay.
We're gonna go through the pack scores in a minute though, but guys, I guess first question, I want to know this from the guys from the chat as well. Is Herm still coaching on Monday? I mean, Arizona State has literally defined the phrase dumpster fires, so much. We thought maybe they were back on track with, looking okay, and just, they look pretty bad against Oklahoma State, and then just like absolutely terrible here, up against Eastern Michigan. And this was not a particularly strong Eastern Michigan team. Is Arizona State going to be in need of a new coach before USC heads to play them?
I would think so. I mean, I don't know how you can let him continue on.
It's been rough. Certainly not a good scene. While we're there, should we take a minute, guys, and kind of walk through what we saw in the Pac-12 today?
Sure.
So of course, big excitement, USC game. That was our favorite, 45-17. UCLA, the Sun Belt Fun Belt, almost got UCLA. They escaped with an upset in the very last second to end time, and then they partied in the locker room like they'd won the national championship. What do you guys think of the Bruins? They played in front of what looked like about maybe 15,000 people today.
They scored 1 point for every fan in the audience.
If that.
Let's move on.
All right, moving on past UCLA. Cal and Notre Dame. This one affects us in a big way. Unbelievable referee error probably cost Cal Berkeley the game. But UC Berkeley, actually the score slipped here. UC Berkeley beats Notre Dame or loses to Notre Dame. Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman gets his first win. What do you guys think?
I think if you are Notre Dame, a Notre Dame fan, an alumnus, I'd be ashamed of Notre Dame. You bring out the green jerseys for Cal? Come on, really? You're
and you
bringing
just squeak out a win.
Green jerseys for Cal. That is disgraceful. When I saw that on TV, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But I guess if you're Marcus Freeman, you're 0-3, and the AD who hired you, Jack Swarbrick, I'm sure he's kind of mulling and second guessing. But hey, if that's what it takes, and then it takes like 25 minutes to take care of the last minute because of all the reversal calls, so be it.
Yeah.
And it was down to the last minute. So
Austin, no, we're just chatting about the USC game and about the Pac-12 games today. So you don't have to be a USC fan. We welcome everybody that wants to chat about USC, as long as you're not full of nonsense or whatever.
And the thing with the Notre Dame game, Notre Dame didn't win so much as Cal lost. I mean,
I think
Cal
you're right,
had
Jeff.
their chances, and they, they really, I think, outplayed Notre Dame in a lot of areas.
Cal cooped it up.
Yeah, they did. They cooped it up.
Yeah.
But the Cougs did not. The Cougs looked good today.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Washington State?
Kudos to Washington State. They did not cook it up. I thought they would.
Okay. Sorry, I misheard you for a minute. We got a bad connection there. Yeah, no, they looked great today. But the game of the day, the first big win of the day for the Pac-12, as a lot of you guys know, some of you were there. And Eric, we'd love to have you call in and tell us what it was like to be in the stands. Oregon 41, BYU 20. Oregon rolled BYU. There was so much nastiness from the BYU fans all over the internet all week, thinking the ridiculous haughtiness, and they just got stomped. Guys, what do we think of the Ducks? Dan Lanning has his team rolling and looking pretty good.
I'm proud of Oregon. I think they played a hell of a game. But that BYU team, that looked almost – today they played almost like a JV team. They seem to be
Yeah.
a step slower than Oregon. They seem to be outsized. I mean, Oregon beat them almost in every facet of the game.
Yeah, they look like the G5 team they are, not like the Power 5 team they want to be.
Kudos to the Ducks. I think BYU's victory over Baylor took a lot out of them, as Ty Guy said. They just looked like they were off today. They didn't have it. The Ducks were ready for them. They were feeling Autzen, and they did what they had to do on a national stage. So congrats to Oregon.
Definitely. And then moving on, the dumpster fire got worse. Guys, is Colorado the worst team in the Power 5?
Oh, absolutely.
I think they might be.
Yeah.
I mean, Northwestern lost to Southern Illinois, so I guess Northwestern's maybe giving them a run for their money. And Nebraska just humiliated themselves against Oklahoma. But Colorado's probably got to be close.
I would agree. The spread was 27 on the Pac-12 show on Wednesday night. I said, go ahead and, Minnesota, they're going to cover that 27 in the first half. I believe they scored 35 in the first half. So there you go.
It was ugly. Moving on, the boat was rowed. Washington State. Now, Rick, you worried that Washington State would coug it up, and they just dominated. Colorado State, one of the worst teams in all of FCS football, but Washington State did what had to be done. And one of the things we've talked about, recurring theme, in the Pac-12, and something that people needed to remember is that the Pac-12 needed to do what it needs to do, and Washington State kind of did that in a big way. Eddie Reyes shows up. Breaking news: Pac-12 is the second best conference in college football. It's possible. It's definitely possible. We got some stinkage there, guys. Washington State, are they going to they're going to shake it up for people?
This is a different Washington State team. This is a defensive team, giving up 7 this week, only giving up 14 at Camp Randall. And what did Wisconsin do today to New Mexico? I think they put up like a 60 burger, if I'm not mistaken. So, was it New Mexico State? Yeah. So, kudos to the Cougs, man. 3-0.
How about this? Kudos to the entire Pacific Northwest. The 4 Pacific Northwest teams are a collective 11-1. The only Pac-12 Northwest loss is Oregon to Georgia in Atlanta. Other than that, the entire Pacific Northwest is undefeated. How about that?
Well, and think about Washington State. How many years have they went and won a game and then played a team like a Colorado State where there's no doubt they're going to win, and then they didn't, so maybe Washington State is finally a more consistent team. Maybe they won't have the ups and downs like they have in the past, and they're more consistent.
That's because of the defense. The defense they're hanging their hat on the defense this year. I think the first game, they beat Idaho, was it 17-14 or 10-7, something of that nature?
It was 21-14 or something like that. But and that was one I think that people underestimated kind of on the national end, because they were looking at Idaho and saying, all right, this is this is the lesser team. But I think that they were forgetting that the issue with Idaho is that it is Washington State's next door neighbor and longtime rival. So that kind of thing, plays a big role. All right, let's move on from the Cougs. Big day, sort of a potential Rose Bowl in exile. Washington, resurgent, looking good, and wow, they Sparty took the Phoenix as the alliteration jokes were heavy on Twitter, but Michigan State got stuck to by Washington, and this game was not nearly as close as the score made it look. What did you guys think? Are the Dogs back?
I think if the Dogs played like they did for the first 45 minutes of the game, they could win the Pac-12. I mean, if they play, that first half they played was just phenomenal. And I agree with you 100%. That 11-point victory doesn't tell the tale. I mean, Washington controlled that game for the first 3 quarters and did nothing wrong. and then it seemed like they kind of let up a little bit, but it wasn't as close as the score.
No, and Gixer Squid points out the better, weaker Pac-12 programs perform, the greater likelihood USC makes the playoffs due to the perception of the conference. I think you're right, and I think today was a good day for the Pac-12, where conferences usually used to kind of being heating up on looked good today.
Yeah,
Tim,
they had
real quick, Tim, do you have anything to say? Tim, you got a lot of feedback going on.
I have feedback.
Yeah, so I'm gonna unmute when you're ready to talk, and I'll unmute you otherwise. Oh, he just disappeared. Sorry, you didn't have to go anywhere. Yeah, no, Gixer, I think you're absolutely right that that's a big thing. And Roger Dodger points out Kalen DeBoer, new Washington head coach, is for real. I'll tell you guys, actually, the Nebraska fans on Twitter, they've got their grabby hands out. They want him. It's pretty funny.
Hey, Tony,
guys, yeah, go ahead.
question for you. With Washington's 11-point victory, by the way, congratulations, Washington, over Michigan State. Did they just maybe spoil the chances for them being invited to the Big Ten?
That's a real good question. I think you could say, did they spoil the chances, or did they say, hey, Big Ten, we're a Big Ten team?
Well, there you go.
And dubs up. I mean, I think today, Oregon and Washington both made really serious statements that said our programs are here and we are for real. And Ralph, I think you're right. Washington should be ranked unquestionably.
It goes to show also that Michigan State was ranked number 11. They had to travel some 2,000 miles to get to Seattle, and so a lot of teams wouldn't travel that far. So kudos to Michigan State for nutting up and doing that. But it goes to show you play on the road. It's a different environment. It's not a neutral site. A fantastic win for Washington on a national stage. I believe that game was on ABC, if I'm correct, or was that Fox?
It was national on ABC, an ABC primetime game.
All right, and I believe Oregon was at 12:30 on Fox.
Yeah, Oregon was that mid afternoon. So these were two big games for the Pac-12. Pac-12 looked great. Connor points out between Smith, Riley, and DeBoer, we might have some of the best offensive minds in the whole shebang. I think you're right. And also, Troy, you're right. Penix has to stay healthy. But he certainly played great today. The Huskies looked great. Moving on, Oregon State. Wow, guys, the Beavs, they stuck it to Montana State. They went up to Portland. This was a special showcase game. They played at Providence Park, which is the big MLS stadium in Portland. Certainly most of you guys know Oregon State's under renovation of their stadium. Half of it's being rebuilt. And Montana State's a good team. Montana State's a really good team. And Oregon State just stuffed them, made them look like a joke. Guys, we got the Beavs next week. Is this the game of the week in the country? I think it might be.
I think it would be.
I mean, they're saying, should College Game Day be there?
And think about the problem the voters are going to have right now, because Washington wasn't ranked, Oregon State wasn't ranked, and Washington State wasn't ranked. How do you keep those three out of the rankings after what they've accomplished today?
I don't think you can. I think it's a crime if you don't.
I think Texas A&M should drop out of the top 25, even with their win over Miami. Come on now.
That was a pretty sad win. Those look like two not very good teams.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even count the little, that we want to rip on them for. If anybody watched that ridiculous yell thing that they did, it was pathetic. Yeah, JB, if only I could watch it. Yeah, guys, find a way to stream the Pac-12 network because it's going to be worth it. It is absolutely going to be worth it to see that game. So next game up, Utah and San Diego State. Now, this is one that was going on concurrently with USC. San Diego State, everybody thought they would have a pretty good team. They've struggled a little bit this year, but Utah just walloped them 35-7. Game was 35-0 for most of the game, and I understand it wasn't even that close. So Utah looked pretty solid. San Diego State's fans are a little bit beside themselves right now in grief. What do you guys think? This Utah-USC game is looking bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, and this is another one. if Utah didn't throw a pick in the last few seconds against Florida, they're undefeated and probably a top
5 team.
5, somewhere in there, so you would have USC and Utah both in the top 7.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, D4, we need to defend the Washington fans. If you understood how bad they have been, I think we cut them a little slack for rushing the field. Oh, guys, we've got Tim. Tim is with us in person. Tim, welcome back.
Oh, I'm back. Yeah, I'm home.
Yeah, D4. I think we give the Huskies a pass on this one because they haven't had a reason to rush the field in about 5 years. So we let them have that one. Tim, tell us about we're talking about USC Utah is looking even bigger and bigger and bigger coming up here. Jeff pointed out very wisely, as always, that we're about one pick in the end zone from that being a top 5 versus top 5 game.
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, the people aren't giving enough credit. He did the most rising thing I've seen a veteran quarterback do in a long time with that second down pass. But yeah, I mean, no joke. I heard you on the car in. The Pacific Northwest is no joke. I would not want to play any of those schedules. We're lucky now. We only play Oregon State and Washington State.
Washington. Yeah.
I can't imagine having to play. Look at Oregon. Oregon has to play all those teams and Utah. Now they get them at home, but we're talking Utah is no joke. And again, they showed it again today. I really think that the top half of our conference is up there with everyone. I can't wait to see Mark's new updated
top 25 that actually makes sense,
or the conference rankings and the top 25 that makes sense. I think you guys see a couple teams up there.
Hopefully. Yeah, and the Big 12. Yeah, this was not a good, real good weekend for the Big 12. Gigster Squid's got a real good question, guys. Where do we think USC will be ranked following this weekend? He says we're playoff bound unless we Helton it.
Same spot. Nobody above us lost.
Same spot, number 7. Yep.
Yeah, everyone helps.
Nobody above us lost. And I thought our win was solid, but I don't think our win commanded us to leap somebody.
Yeah, I agree. But we didn't beat anybody's going to leapfrog us. We're now if we beat a great Beaver team and a great Utes team on the road, we better be in top 5. Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. Should we move on, guys? So then, big game tonight, Arizona. Showed a little bit of moxie. North Dakota State was ahead for most of the game. Arizona comes back to win. At least they did as of when we went live. I assume. Somebody tell me if something crazy happened in the last few seconds.
No, they won.
They did. Okay, that's what I thought. So Arizona beats North Dakota State. I thought that's a good win for Arizona. This is not a great Arizona team. And, again, they took one of the top elite teams of FCS, and they did what had to be done.
I'll tell you, I feel sorry for Rick and Tim. They wasn't able to watch this game. The last quarter of this game was a great game. There was 4 lead changes in the second half. North Dakota had the ball. They were up 28-24, and they were looking good. They were driving. They got stopped. They punted the ball. Arizona went down and scored. North Dakota State got the ball right back, and they 3 and out. I mean, Arizona's D came up big. It was a really great fourth quarter to watch.
Yeah, it was. I had it going on my side screen here, and I couldn't get over it because. And also, I grew up in Michigan, and my uncle is a very devout Eastern Michigan alum. So watching Eastern Michigan stick it to Arizona State while this game was going on too, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's and they're again. They're not one of the top half teams I'm talking about. They kind of surprised us. They played very well from the start of the season, but they've kind of
before you say we're ranked 6th behind the Sun Belt again, I'm timing you out. Just kidding. Real quick, let's hit our last Pac-12 game. We'll be done with scores, guys. And Tim, I don't know. I don't think you were with us when we were talking a little bit about this earlier. Arizona State falls to Eastern Michigan. Does Herm have a job on Monday?
Herm should have been they should got rid of him last offseason. So I mean,
Or
he's
two off
been
seasons
gone.
ago.
He should have been gone a long time ago. I don't even know what they're doing. I don't know what the experiment with Herm is, but they need to get their stuff together up there. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, this is not a very good Eastern Michigan team. In fact, I would love to hear. I've got Herm's press conference right now. It looks like on the other screen. It'd be real interesting to hear what he has to say. What do you guys think in the chat? Is Arizona State? Is it time to make a change right now? Do they make it through the end of the season? What do we do? Arizona State should hire Tedford from Connor. Sorry, go ahead, Rick.
President Michael Crow is eating crow. He's the one who hired Ray Anderson, who hired Herm Edwards, who basically they're keeping in power. So they got everything they have coming to them. So this is delightful that they lost to Eastern Michigan at home, because this is what Arizona State does. This is who they are. They've always been this way. They've tried to cheat to be relevant, and you lose to Eastern Michigan at home. So
and it backfired on them.
Exactly.
Gixer Squid's asking right now, wasn't ASU and Herman hot water last season due to recruiting issues? Yep, they've been in hot water since the COVID era, when they like shamelessly broke all the COVID rules from the NCAA to illegally host recruits, most of whom didn't go there. So it absolutely backfired on them, which is too bad.
So that was a good day for the Pac-12, 8-3, with two major victories by University of Washington and Oregon to the 12th and 11th ranked team in the country. So not a bad day at all for the Pac-12.
We'll take it, that's for sure. We've got, Clint, it's really funny you say that. There are the rabid folks that think that, Zona and Colorado and ASU want to go there, which they don't. If they can avoid it, they certainly don't want to go anywhere, but they still keep saying that. A lot of jokes all over the internet today, guys, talking about, if Colorado went to the Big 12, don't we think the Pac-12's TV value would probably go up?
Exactly. It'd be worth a lot more.
Be worth a lot more. Oh, too funny. What else we got here? We're looking at what you guys have in the chat. You guys call in and join us. Tell us what you guys think. I know there's USC fans, non-USC fans. We got Oregon fans who were at that BYU game today. We want to hear what you guys have to think. What you guys think of the games today.
Well, my question for you guys is, let's talk about conferences a second. The Pac-12 has to be at least the second best conference right now. Because if you look at the Big Ten really only has three teams rolling. They have Michigan, they have Ohio State, and they have Penn State. The rest of the Big Ten don't look all that great. If you look at the ACC, Miami came back to reality today. Clemson is doing good. And then you got a few other teams that don't look bad, but when you look at the Pac-12, USC, you guys are rolling. Washington's rolling. Oregon State's rolling. Utah, they're back to rolling again. How can you guys not be the second best conference?
It was a good weekend. Good weekend for the Pac-12.
I think that's all, Jeff. I think it's all going to shake out in the next couple of weeks. Again, we don't know. I mean, we've seen a good sample now of what the Pac-12 can do, right? Michigan State and Washington game, that was a step forward. The teams are supposed to, to put the points on today. So again, overall, I think we held serve. I thought last week that we were probably somewhere around the third or fourth, definitely not the worst. I think we've moved up definitely this week. But again, these things, just like everything, preseason polls, early polls, these things are gonna balance themselves out at some point. Once these teams start again, once we see USC play, Oregon State next week. Once we see USC play Utah, once we see Utah play the Ducks. I mean, it's gonna be these games that are going to shape what the perception of the country is. And if we continue to win, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, right? I heard Tony talk about the fact how well the Pacific Northwest schools have done. they made some of the competition may not have been the best, but everyone was pumping up BYU, and maybe BYU might go on to do good things, but they got handled pretty. That game, there really
The
wasn't
game
a
was
lot of
not
doubt.
as close as the score looked.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
BYU scored a bunch of garbage. They pulled Bo Nix in the third quarter, and BYU got some garbage time points. So,
yeah, Ty Thompson came in 1 for 2, 5 yards of interception. That's why they got those garbage points at the end. Yeah, so I mean, realistically, if that BYU team is what everyone was saying they were, number 11, they handled them. That game was really never in doubt. My hat off to Oregon. They really took it to be again. That's how a team that's a top team is supposed to handle another team,
a G5 team.
They just did. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're supposed to handle G5 teams, and they handled BYU like a G5 team, not like the P5 team that BYU mistakenly thinks it is. Chandy Starr points out Washington, WSU, Oregon State should be ranked. I would add Oregon to that. I mean, there's arguably really 6 teams in the Pac-12 that are probably rank worthy right now, which is exciting. And I mean, who knows? They could all go lay an egg tomorrow, but certainly this week, if we were going to do a top 25 that actually makes sense, I think you're right, Chandy Starr. I think that there's probably 6 teams that are worthy of rank, which is pretty good.
And if we would have had this conversation 3 weeks ago, nobody would have had 6 Pac-12 teams in the top 25.
Larry says, LOL, they're G5 for sure. Larry, right now, I would say they're G5 at best.
No, but last week on this show, I said that, I started talking about, and definitely on the Pac-12 show, I was saying that there is absolutely no excuse why Oregon State and Washington State were not in the top 25. Now we're seeing Washington should be in there as well. I was wrong about UCLA. I heard you guys talking about UCLA as well. I thought UCLA was going to be one of those teams in the top half of the conference, but man, they really look terrible today.
You know what though? I get the only thing that I give them a little bit of pause on, a little timeout on, is we saw the Sun Belt wreak havoc around the country, like just absolute havoc. And UCLA escaped the Sun Belt with a win, which is a lot better than a lot of teams can say right now. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I didn't think they looked good, but I don't think they've looked good all season. I didn't think they looked good against Bowling Green. I didn't think they looked good in their last game. I didn't think they looked good in this game. But yeah, as Ralph points out, South Alabama is, I mean, the Fun Belt is kicking some butt right now, and UCLA got out alive, which is a whole lot more than we can say for a lot of teams. Certainly a lot more than we can say for Texas A&M or Notre Dame.
Well, and didn't Bowling Green win today? Didn't Bowling Green upset Marshall?
Yeah, Bowling Green beat Marshall.
So maybe
and UCLA
Bowling Green ain't as bad.
And UCLA waxed Bowling Green.
Yep.
So, there are lots of questions. I mean, Cal, we don't know I don't know what to make of Notre Dame. I don't know what to make of Cal based on this Notre Dame game. Cal seems like they play the level of the competition, whether that competition is lowly UC Davis, low G5 UNLV or Notre Dame. Cal plays everybody close, and Cal's done that before. And the problem is, when we were number 1 in the country, Cal would still play us close too. So we may be seeing that from Cal as well.
So did you guys break down the rushing and the players at all earlier? I missed a lot of the show. Because
we talked a lot about it, but we didn't go down through numbers or whatever.
Pretty amazing. Both Austin Jones and Travis Dye rushed for 100 yards each in that game. Austin Jones 110 and Travis Dye for 102. Both guys were north of 9 yards per carry, which again,
they were looking great.
That makes me think of a question. When was the last time we had 2 100-yard rushers? I have an idea, but thought I'd ask you guys.
In the same game, wasn't it Reggie and Lindale?
Oh, well, it's happened since then.
Right. I don't know if it's happened 16? Since then. Who would be the 2 running backs? Because obviously they would.
I thought you had a game in 16 where you had 2 running backs.
Guys, we've got a visitor. We've got D4 Sports, who is calling himself anti-Pac-12 guy.
Oh,
D4 Sports. Guys, welcome. Brandon from D4 Sports, guys, is one of the wisest guys in the college football YouTube community. We are thrilled to have him. D4, first of all, hook 'em horns. Your guys won a nice one today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well done. And they look good for the conference. I liked it. Tell us what you thought about USC.
Run game looks strong. Something I definitely was wondering. It gives your offense a definite balance. You have the wide receiving core. You have the quarterback. Can you sustain the run game? I don't know. You can't really gauge that against Fresno State. They've been like what the 105th best defense in the country. So, with that being said, you can't really gauge it off that. But when they step into conference play against Oregon State, that's definitely going to tell
a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more what you guys have coming. But Travis Dye, man, that dude is a beast of a running back and a very smart runner. And all the credit to him in this game. He looked good.
Well, I like how they split him outside too. He's just so versatile. Again, first two games we saw a lot of great blocking from him, just giving him time to throw, right? But this is a second time. The first game against Rice, and then again this game where he made a catch that most receivers will drop. In the corner, there was that low throw towards the pylon that he went down to gather in there. I'm not sure if it was the first touchdown or not, but he made a great catch in the corner. This is what happens when I'm drinking the game, so I'm just watching the game with a notepad. But I mean, he made a great catch in the corner there that was just, again, phenomenal. And I mean, all praise to Addison, Mario Williams, and Caleb Williams, and they got a lot of respect, and rightfully so. But I mean it. From what I've been watching, I'm becoming a huge fanboy of Travis Dye. He just does everything. And when he had that quote of the year where he said, "No blocky, no rocky," dude, I said, dude, this is the dude. This is the guy that is going to be not only a star, not a brick guy, but he's also a mortar guy. He does all those little things, right, that you don't notice unless you're actually watching or being a total nerd like me at 4 a.m. probably tonight. For me, rewatching the game and just watching, in awe of this guy who is just playing out of his mind right now. Rick, what do you think?
How about that late touchdown that he had where he would not go down? He spun did like a 180, gets into the end zone, and then lifts his arms to the sky, kind of like, did you see what I just did? And everybody was going crazy in the Coliseum because that was one hell of a run. That was an encore because he got dinged up during the game, and he was having a heck of a game. But to pull off that touchdown at that point, it was huge. So Travis Dye, I'm just amazed how great of a player he is. Not only a blocker, but a teammate. And that offensive line loves blocking for him.
And you can't discount Austin Jones in this game. He had over 100 yards rushing as well and a touchdown. And I think he had a long of I think it was like 44. And what's really impressing me also is that defense, another 5-sack game.
Yep.
And 6 TFLs. They're going back to him. Solomon Byrd. Mm-hmm. This guy that transferred from Wyoming. This dude is a dude. I mean, I think he's working his way into the starting lineup. This is 2 straight games where this kid's got 2 sacks, and not only that, but I think he forced that fumble. I haven't seen the replay. I don't know if it's grotesque or not. I hope Hainer gets well soon. That's a tough kid, but he's the one that caused the fumble on that sack as well. Which obviously, the injury was an issue too, but that fumble itself was also a turning point in the game without Hainer going down. It looked like they might have had a little momentum shifting, and he comes in, he gets that sack. Clearly, he's not getting the garbage time that he was getting before. He's getting more reps, so he's showing stuff, not only in practice but obviously in the game. So I'm quickly turning into a Solomon Byrd fan, the transfer from Wyoming.
Tim, real quick, you saw some of this. Are there updates on injuries? Ralph is asking. We saw a couple of the linemen get hurt. Do you have updates of any kind? Have you heard anything?
So I saw earlier in the game was the first half. Again, I'm not gonna lie, I was drinking some beer. Early in the game, it was you saw our left tackle, Rick. When that happened, second quarter. I think it was second quarter. Our left tackle, Bobby Haskins, transfer from Virginia, go down with a shoulder injury. And when he came off, it looked like he was in pain. I kind of saw the trainers bring him over. He sat down. They started warming up, and they had him warming up the sidelines as well. He looked okay, and he came back into the game. But then at the very end, I was thinking to myself, this is what I was thinking to myself. Sometimes the personnel that's going on, and everyone feel free to chime in. What was Bobby Haskins, who had already hurt his shoulder, who was our only, who is the backup to, we have our Cortland Ford and Bobby Haskins been splitting time at left tackle. And we still have Bobby Haskins in there late in the game. The game's already decided, and he hurts his shoulder again. And he was in a lot of pain coming off the field. So, I mean, whatever that shoulder injury was, got a hell of a lot worse. And I just have to think to myself, why the hell
Roy
is
is saying
he in that game?
post-interview, somebody said Haskins was good to go.
He's good to go. Like, there's no injury at all. I'll see what I believe. If he
I don't know. I'm just
practices
this is the quote that we were. This is just from Roy. Roy, we'd love to hear more info about it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate Roy. So you probably listened to the radio report. So I'm hoping that is the case. But I'll tell you guys, to see a big dude like that go down with a shoulder injury early, go back out and go down again in pain with a shoulder injury. I think when he wakes up tomorrow morning, anyone who's had a shoulder injury is going to realize I wouldn't say he's okay to go. We'll see how if it was a sprained an ankle or a shoulder or whatever, AC joint, believe me, we'll see tomorrow morning he wakes up, and then on Monday if he's able to practice, because
Roy's saying that
Lincoln Riley shoulder the arms a lot, and so he's to have a shoulder injury for any lineman is a big deal. So I'm
Ray's saying it came from Coach Riley.
Right. Well, we know Coach speak, don't we? I mean, Riley doesn't give. Okay. Riley's very.
Let's move on. Let's just move on.
Well, hold on a second. There. He'll probably keep talking about it all week, leading up to the. You don't want to tip your hand with Oregon State, so I really think that he never gives any real specifics when it comes to injuries, and the press are told flat out, do not report. If you see somebody out there, or you see somebody not practicing, we don't want you. Otherwise, we're going to take the press credential away. So it'll be pretty cat and mouse.
Okay. Real quick, what about Damani Jack? What about Damani? Do you know anything? Any updates? Ronald's asking if Damani's ready to play.
No, I know he's still coming back from that knee injury. To my knowledge, he didn't get any reps today, did he? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
So he's probably
was he the one in street clothes too? I'm trying to remember who somebody was in street clothes. That was.
I didn't catch that because I really wasn't looking for him today.
That wasn't either. Okay. Looking at other things in the chat, guys. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Let me put the link in the chat again. Colin, especially anybody who's at the game, we'd love to hear your take on it.
Tim,
you were with it. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to step away for a couple of minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Tim, real quick. We were talking about LBC just a little bit ago, or when we first started, about the Coliseum and the game experience. Can you tell our folks a little more about what was different this year than normal? How did the Coliseum feel? What was different? What was better? What was worse? What was it like in the stadium?
Well, I was from the traffic getting in there and the parking. I was thinking we would have more fans. I'd be shocked if there were more than 55,000 there for the Coliseum.
Really?
I mean, I know it's Fresno State.
It looks good on TV.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you get higher up on the Coliseum, there was a lot of empty seats. I was rather disappointed. I don't know what these fans need to see. I thought a lot of people, all the looky-loos, would be looking and saying, "Wow, they're moving." I mean, if anything, you're going to watch a great offensive game, right? My concern is a loss up in Corvallis. We come back to play a really bad Arizona State team. This team that we're putting out there deserves to have a packed Coliseum. The Coliseum's not 93,000 anymore. It's only 78,000 change. So the fact that we can't get 78,000 fans to the Coliseum on the regular is embarrassing. I get it. The last couple of years, the piss poor teams we've been putting out there, but the university and again, a lot of it was apathy because I don't blame fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're rehiring Helton. You're trotting out the old saying, we swap a couple coordinators around every couple of years, keep the same guy for 6 years, and we're losing.
But moving on. Not we already talked a lot about stadium capacities. We're talking what about more about the game itself, like game environment, atmosphere. What was different or not as good?
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Tony.
Better.
Talking about the fact that the atmosphere wasn't as electric as I thought it should be.
Okay.
I get that fan apathy from a couple of years ago, but the fact of the matter is the way they're playing on the field is not translating. Yes, the people that were there, you could tell that they're the diehard fans, and they were loud and they were proud. Again, in the beginning, there was a lot of support. When Coach Riley came on, the very beginning, they put him on the big screen. Everybody went nuts, and it was good to see that. But the sheer numbers, they just aren't there.
Well, certainly better than about the 15,000 people it looked like in the Rose Bowl. That was a mess. But Husky Stadium was packed. Obviously, Autzen was packed. Looked like even decent crowds in Arizona. So certainly doesn't fit the narrative that some of the other folks were saying. But hopefully they can keep getting it better. What about like did they stop? We heard that the DJ wasn't as prominent this time.
Well, see, I'm on the opposite side of Rick. I'm right in front. I'm right above the student section, so it's pretty loud and pretty rough.
Your area is pretty loud, regardless.
The in game, I think, was reduced a little bit. Again, remember I had COVID last time, so I didn't really get the full brunt. But in years past, we didn't. I love the DJ at the basketball games. I'm not sure. I don't like. See, at the basketball games, we have the basketball band, which is cool, but a big part of USC football experience is being there with the band. And when you cut into the band time, I'm sure it's great for the kids, the student section or whatever, but going to USC football games, it's not a Lakers game. It's a football game, and the band should be prominent, and they shouldn't be cutting into the band time. So I'm glad that it did seem like it was toned down from what I heard the first game from the people around me, my season ticket. The people around me, they said it was pretty bad last game, but it was less, but it still was a distraction from the normal game experience.
John DeMillo wants to know, what was the light? How was the light show after we scored?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
We saw that on TV. What were they doing with that?
Remember the old days when it would take forever if you lost the lights at a stadium, it would take a long time for them to warm up again. I guess there's obviously technology is different now.
They're LEDs.
And so what they're doing is they're flashing those lights, and it's pretty amazing. I think they're trying the intro. I don't know if you saw the intro. I think they're trying to do too much with the intro. Maybe less is more. But as far as after the touchdowns, that's pretty cool. I like that lighting effect.
We've got Rick back, and let's welcome Austin to the stream. Austin, welcome. How are you?
I'm gonna check out.
All right, thanks,
D4. Checking out D4.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out. Congratulations on the win. Congratulations for the Pac-12 for their strong showing this weekend, and fight on, guys.
Hey, D4, hook 'em horns. Thanks for joining us. Austin, welcome to USC Postgame Live. How's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, good, thanks. Austin, tell us, what did you think of the game today?
USC played pretty good, especially the wide receiver, Jordan Addison. He had himself a night. And Caleb Williams had a couple nice passes. He's looking pretty stellar out there. And, man, I say he's got some legs, too. He can run.
Yeah, he showed a little bit of that mobility. I love the touchdown run. I mean, he's definitely not shying away from it. If he's reading that defensive end, he'll tuck it and take it. I really like that. Jordan Addison did have a good game for a mortal, but usually we're used to him going crazy. He actually had a tame game for himself, throwing 6 receptions for 69 yards. And you know what, for him, and only his long was 20. So Williams, they have him as Max Williams on the ESPN stats, but Mario Williams had a pretty good game as well. 6 catches for 77 yards. And then again, that guy I'm talking about, Travis Dye, they get their stats all messed up. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find someone else because they say 3 receptions for 36 yards and 0 touchdowns. I'm not sure, but I saw him catch one by the pylon early on. So let me hold that thought because maybe these stats are wrong.
Now, Austin, I see the Cardinals. Are you a Cardinals fan?
Yes. Go
Nice.
Cards.
Very nice.
What did you think about the defense?
Oh, we're going to need some help. That's for sure. We can't stop the run, and we can barely stop the pass sometimes. We need lots of help over there.
Yeah, I'm getting happy with the in the second half, especially with the pass rush. But it did seem like, again, we don't want to belabor the same point, but it just looks like we're a half a step short on those gaps on the runs. And for me, here's one thing, a pet peeve of mine. I've always said, when you have three guys sitting in a zone and there's a guy settling down between three dudes and nobody's picking him up, I saw that twice. And the guy's just standing right in the middle, settling down the zone. 3 SC Trojans standing around him and nobody's picking him up. That was pretty rough to watch.
Yeah, it's hard when you don't have a run defense whatsoever. It just makes it so hard on your offense because your defense is giving up so many points that when your offense scores 7, then the defense just goes back out there and gives the opponent another 7, and that's just frustrating.
Yeah. They rushed for 164 yards on the night, which isn't horrible. But again, I don't think that a team like Fresno State should be running on a Power 5 school like that. Yeah. So it was disappointing. This is game 3. I'm trying to be patient, hoping those run fits do get fixed. Maybe they got to bring extra safety up. I don't know. I don't know what they have to do, but for some reason, you're looking at these holes, and it's not like they're blocking these holes. It's just there's nobody there on a second level to make a play, or third level make a play. These guys are running down the field for 40, 50 yards, and it's a bit disappointing.
Is it just me, or has Lincoln Riley kind of revived this program a little bit brought a breath of fresh air? Is it just me on that, or do you guys feel that too?
He resuscitated from death, so I don't know. I'm not sure exactly. If you've watched USC for the past 2 to 3 years, this is like night and day. Rick, what do you think?
Oh my God! I mean, it's ridiculous. The progress that we've made, and yes, I hear a lot of criticism about the defense, and rightly so. But you take a look at, I know it's going to be corrected over the year, and as we move forward into next year. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a lot of D linemen and linebackers that want to come to play for USC. So we'll find success in the transfer portal. I think what he did for the offense and how he worked the transfer portal, and even on the defense, you're seeing some guys make plays like a Solomon Byrd. You're seeing Eric Gentry make plays. You're seeing guys like Mekhi Black and Latrell McCutcheon, who was out there a lot today, make plays. So the defense is going to take time to gel and trust. I think that was a big word that was used during practice this week is trust. And the culture is changing. So what Lincoln Riley and his staff have done in the 9 short months is just absolutely ridiculous. The fact that I was looking at the schedule during the summer and thinking we are going to lose one of these 4 games to begin the season, and we still might. When I was figuring USC would be an 8-4 team, I was looking at an issue with either Stanford or Oregon State. And Oregon State's going to be a struggle, but I think we showed Oregon State something on tape today that we can run the ball, we can control the clock. The defense wasn't out there playing 80 plays like they were last week. So an improvement would be, I think defense was out there in the low 50s, 53, 54, 55 plays. So that's an improvement.
Charles, we hear you on that. And guys, Eric's in the chat. Let's give a big quack, quack, quack to the Ducks who got business done today. Nice job, guys. Tim, and Rick both was. What do you guys think as we get ready now? We've got this game coming up. This is going to be the biggest USC Oregon State game we've had since probably Denny Erickson. Can we do it?
Anytime you go up to Corvallis, it's scary. Seeing the fact that they do very well is what we do not so well. They better fix those run fits. That's all I'm gonna say. If we give gaps to this team, I don't know if anyone was there. I know Rick was there. I was in the Coliseum last year, and it was brutal. It was brutal what they did to that defense. Now I know we've made just personnel wise, we've made a lot of improvements, but Jonathan Smith's no joke. The guy would, with no disrespect to our fellow Oregon State fans out there, he wouldn't be there right now. He would be the hot name, I guarantee you, as coaching searches. He is a former Oregon State Beaver quarterback. So I think that until the NFL comes knocking on the door, that he might be safe for the Bees. But we're gonna go up there, and I think they're gonna give USC everything they can handle. Especially again, if we can't sort out our run defense, it's gonna be a shootout. You know, and what we've done now 2 games in a row is we get inside the 10-yard line. Who knows this pattern? And then we've had 2 offensive pass interferences in different ways. Right? Last week was a push off. This week was our receiver got past the line of scrimmage, and we've got guys outside blocking, and they threw the ball to him. And we got another offensive pass interference, and that drops us back 15 yards. It's a huge penalty to get inside your 10 as you're going in to score. And those kind of big mistakes are painful. I think that we saw that Caleb Williams was having a little bit of issue deciphering and making quick decisions when they were dropping 8. I know that the Oklahoma fans loved to say that last year. Last year, he was a freshman playing 5 games or whatever, 6 games. This year's a different story. He had trouble when they were rushing 3 and dropping 8 on a couple of times. But I also did notice they backed off it because we made some adjustments. We did make some plays. But I don't know, Rick. What are you thinking about as far as us matching up with the Beaver defense?
And by the way, real quick, I love HR Picking Stuff's comment. Win forever. This offense looks like Norm Chow and Mike Leach put in the game plan.
Sorry, Rick, go ahead. I like it. It also looks like we have Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian. I mean, I like those offenses together. But you're right. The Mike Leach part of it, maybe Mike Leach and Kiffin have a brainchild, and that's what this offense looked like.
I feel fine about going into the game next week, and here's why. Are we going to give up some run gashes? Yes. Are they going to score rushing touchdowns? Yes. Are we going to make some big stops? Absolutely. Do I have faith in this coaching staff? Yeah. And take a look at the opportunity that we had having game film, watching Fresno State and Oregon State. I have a funny suspicion that this coaching staff has been preparing a game plan for Oregon State for the past 2 weeks. And that's just I don't have any information. That's just my thought process. Lincoln Riley's a G. He's a guru. And so he's already putting together a plan for Oregon State. And he kind of laid out some of the plan today. You're going to have to stop the run and the pass, Oregon State. So go ahead tonight, put your head on the pillow and figure that one out, okay? Because we got ballers that are coming up here. I love Chance Nolan. He's a great working like quarterback, like a Jonathan Smith. But go ahead and step it up. Look at Jake Haener. Jake Haener couldn't hang in the first half. He had the ball all of, I think, 3 minutes in the first quarter. So that's basically the recipe for Oregon State. Go ahead, Chance Nolan. See if you can beat us with your arm in maybe the 4 minutes you're going to have the ball. They've got to stop the run.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, again, I think the strength of this team right now is that offensive line playing out of their minds. And I hope we can keep everybody healthy. We're about 6 deep on the line, and then we start going into some other class that maybe need a little more time. But right now, the way we're running the ball, I feel really confident. Rick, you pointed out the fact that the time of possession was heavily in USC's favor in that game. And if you look at the numbers, USC was like in the top 5 in yards per play going into this game, but it really looked like we had a different game plan. It's almost like they wanted to keep the ball out of Hayner's hands and just kind of drag this game. I mean, score, and then they're very more methodical. There were a couple deep shots they took in the game, but a lot of the plays were shorter than we've seen for the previous 2 games.
Absolutely.
Tim, we've got. Go ahead, Rick. And then we got another visitor. Oh no,
I want to go a little. I'm going to go a little literature on you guys. I want to go ahead and I want to give you a quote, and this is from Paulo Coelho. He's a Brazilian author who's known for the book The Alchemist from the 80s. And this is basically as it relates to USC taking away the ball. 10 balls in 3 weeks from 3 different opponents. And basically the quote is, everything that happens once can never happen again. But everything that happens twice will surely happen a third time. And what happened a third time? USC forced 2 turnovers and didn't turn the ball over. So there you go.
Well, yeah, I think we had Eric likes your literature, and I think we had the first Jake Haener interception of his year this year too. It was a little bit of an asterisk there, but
so basically it's not a fluke. Okay, it's happened 3 times. You could say, well, they got lucky in this. It was the end of the first half. No, he threw the ball. You could have batted it down. No, we got it. And there was a sack. Haener went down, fumbled the ball. But again, that was for Fresno State, who did not turn the ball at all in the first 2 games. So we're going to go up to Oregon State, and I know they're a very difficult team to play up there. We know that. But don't be surprised if USC doesn't force any turnovers there. And Chase Nolan's going to be running for his life as well.
For sure. We've got another visitor. Let's welcome Michael real quick. Michael, welcome to USC Postgame Live. What do you want to chat about?
Not much. I was going to say, was this by far, you think, Caleb's best game, even when he was in Oklahoma tonight against Fresno State? Because it looked like for a while there, he was like in his complete zone. And if I'm not mistaken, at one point when I was reading something about it, didn't he complete like 10 or 11 straight passes in a row? And one of them ended up in a touchdown?
Michael, did you watch him go into that game at Texas at the Red River Shootout rivalry last year?
Yeah, bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, and actually, I think last as far as just throwing it, I know that it was a different opponent, but I'm just talking about the quality of throws and being on the mark. The Rice game to me was where every throw he threw was a dime. Like every throw. Last week everything looked really good except for 2 weird plays on that fade down the right side. But this game, I mean, listen, we're being hypercritical here. He had a great game, but he also missed some throws today that, even on one early in the game, there was a throw to Brendan Rice just on the flat. And Brendan Rice had to come back about 2 yards and reach down by his ankles to grab it. Usually Williams is hitting the receiver, throwing him to where he could lead him. So I think he was a little bit off, but again, I'm being super critical in my opinion.
Yeah. Not bad.
You got to credit Fresno State for getting Caleb Williams off the mark. He was running, and a lot of times, and this is where I was being critical, he was scrambling and he was not leaving the pocket quick enough, and he got sacked a couple times. So he was holding on to the ball and looking for a receiver rather than pulling it down and running. There's a couple times where he just needed to go, and he didn't go. And he took a couple sacks, and also like what Tim said, he was off the mark. They were forcing him off the mark. He made a couple bad throws, but he's going to work. He's going to recognize that and address the pressure, better next time in the future.
Yeah. 2 of those sacks, though, to be fair, is when Haskins, I believe, was out of the game. And then also, this is the first team that really went heavy with rush 3, drop 8, and which, again, we have those safeties deep like they had a lot of that game. It's hard to pick up some of those longer throws. I think that's why we were seeing a lot of the more underneath stuff, taking what he can get. I'm have to watch the game. There was a lot of drinking, a lot of talking, a lot of during the game when I was there today. But
how good was it to be back?
But in general, I got that vibe. I got that vibe that they were taking away the long ball, and he had a couple opportunities. He had one, I think, down a fade down the right hand side. They're going towards the close end of the Coliseum that he just threw out of bounds. Although there was a beautiful back shoulder, I think it was at the Mario Williams, that was just picture perfect in the same spot. So again, I am being completely hypercritical of an amazing quarterback who, again, most quarterbacks out there would be more than happy with what Caleb Williams did tonight. Going see what were his numbers? I don't have
25 or 37 for 284 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, most of the country is going to take that. But is that one of his best games with those stats? I would have to say no.
No, I'm just because I thought there was a couple of throws that he had that was like right on the money and stuff like that. But I will ask you this, because I know it's USC. But have you ever seen a team self-implode like Purdue did at the end of the game?
I wasn't able to catch the Purdue game.
Yeah, I don't think this is probably not the venue for the Purdue game. That's should be a whole show on itself somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
That was
I was just asking in general. But I'm sure you guys will talk about that tomorrow night during the show and stuff like that.
If I may jump in, I may say that Caleb Williams, he is still young, so I think as the season progresses, he'll continue to get better. Like Tim said before, he'll start making more of those throws and making better decisions, like live to fight another down. I think all quarterbacks go through this growing pain, correct?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And you are right that he's young. I mean, he's only started this is his 9th game?
Yeah. 6th last season, right? And then this is his 3rd. I think that's correct.
So yeah, he's got plenty of room to grow still.
Yeah, so we're getting kind of close to the end of the show, you guys. Would really love to hear from everybody, but if there's some Trojan fans out there that are just getting home, from the game or on their way home from the game and on their phones, we'd love to hear you. We're going to drop the link one more time into the chat. Hopefully you can join us again, because this is your opportunity to be heard. We'd love to hear you guys. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be a lot more positive than I have. Again, I'm sorry if I've been a little bit negative. I still see a lot of stuff on defense we need to clear up. I think the offense played great, except for that one penalty, but that's a small ask, right? But we would love to hear from you. If you guys could go ahead and please call the show, that'd be awesome.
I've got some notes here. Speaking of notes, I actually took some and kind of highlighting what we were talking about, how this was a different game compared to Rice and Stanford. The first 3 drives that USC had the ball, the 3rd drive ended in a touchdown, which made it 21-3, and that was with 8:04 left in the second quarter. And that 3rd drive by USC was a 16-play drive that took approximately 6:42 off the clock. So you take a look at that. 3 points for a Fresno State team, quarterbacked by Jake Hayner. He couldn't even really manufacture a drive that first half. And so that's, I think, part of the game plan that Lincoln Riley had is we're going to have a balanced attack. We're going to run the ball. We're going to eat clock, and we're going to show them you're going to have to defend the pass and the run. And they saw what USC did against Stanford. They had the deep threat with Addison that they had to concern themselves. So as Tim was saying, dropping eight back. And so we were taking whatever they're going to give us, adding in the dose of the run game, and we kept our defense off the field. We kept them fresh. So that is something that Oregon State's going to have to take a look at. Do you take a look at the Stanford game? Do you take a look at the game against a team that you just played in Fresno State? That was a game that went down to the wire, and pretty much USC had its way with Fresno State. Their fans that came down, they were very, very quiet. Didn't hear much of them.
which USC is supposed to take care of Fresno State because USC is a powerhouse team. So you would expect this USC team to take care of business like this. So it shouldn't come as any shock that all this transpired out there. My thing is, I want to see this USC team when they get to play the Utahs and the Oregons, see what they're made of.
We all do.
And the crazy thing is we don't play Utah or we don't play Oregon in the regular season, or Washington. So what's kind of nuts is that if USC could roll through into the Pac-12 championship game, we might be able to. I mean, can you imagine getting a first game against Oregon or getting a championship game against Oregon or Washington? Guys, that's epic. That's old school Pac. I love that idea.
And I'm really excited.
It's a long road to get there, but still,
maybe even a rematch with the Beavers or Utah. This is gonna be a hell of a season in the Pac-12. I think it's anybody's conference. I mean, going into this thing, I thought it was pretty much going to be Utah driven, but a lot of teams have shown me a lot more than I thought. And I think USC, be glad, USC fans out there, because we've had 3 games to tune up, and unfortunately, we're still seeing some
things needing more
issues, on that second level and third level, being able to fit those. I really hope that we get that done, because next week, did Connor call it in at all? Because it would have been great to talk to him about next week's game. I don't know if you made it or not.
He hasn't called in, but he's been filling us in the whole time. And Connor, we'd love to chat with you. Definitely in the Pac show on Wednesday. And guys, Wednesday night at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. We're going to be here on the Voice of College Football channel hosting another Pac-12 game, Pac-12 show, and talk about this week and the week coming up and what a week it was and what a week it's going to be as we really launch into the conference schedule. So, Connor, we'd love to have you and any of you guys. We'd love to have you participate. These are some new shows we're doing with Mark Rogers, Voice of College Football, as a way to give you guys a chance to get together and chat and talk about what you think about the Pac-12 and about these games. And we love having you here with our USC post games. And I think are we getting about to that time? About ready to wrap up?
Yeah, it doesn't appear that we have any Trojans calling in.
Well, thank you. First of all right, so final words. Austin, thank you for... Oh, he left us. Never mind. Thank you for joining us, Austin. All right. Who wants to go first? Final words. Thoughts on USC. Imperfect, but solid. Rolling past Fresno State 45-17.
Fresno State was really playing a great game. It was a shame to see Hainer go down. I really do hope he gets better. He's a gamer. He talked during the week about being a huge Trojan fan, and not getting the offer and wanting to show out, and he got hurt. I'm really excited about what I'm seeing from our defensive line as far as it comes to the pass rush. Solomon Byrd is definitely showing up, flashing, showing that he needs to get more time. Again, Tuipulotu is doing what he does best. So I am really excited about a lot of things we have going on the team. And I just hope that they're going to gel, because we're going to have our first really big test against a team that can run the ball very well next week. If we don't get some of these issues ironed out, we may not be as happy as we are right now.
I hear you. LBC, final thoughts?
What I take away from it is we've had 3 games, and very impressed with the coaching staff for the game plan that they've put together to address each of the teams. And if you take a look at the game plans for each of the games, totally different. I loved the heavy dose of run, mixing up with Austin Jones and Travis Dye, both spectacular runners, and how to work. And we gave Fresno State. We basically attacked Fresno State with what they were giving us, and they couldn't stop us. And I think we make fewer mistakes. We do score 60 points, but we beat them 45-17. Again, the defense is a work in progress, but they make the stops when they need to make the stops. And the end of the game, they could have given up an easy touchdown, but they didn't. And to Davis and Solomon Bird and these other players that are stepping up, making some great plays. Looking for a game plan for Oregon State. It's going to be a great game.
All right, I agree. And guys, on behalf of our whole team, here at USC Postgame Live, and for Mark Rogers and the voice of college football, I want to thank you guys for spending some time with us tonight. It's late. We appreciate having you guys, and we know your time is precious, and you have your families, and we really appreciate that you're here with us, and we relish this opportunity to chat about USC after the game, and we're glad to have you, and we hope you'll join us again. I also want to send a special shout out to any Fresno State fans. I mean, I'm sure there's no way for us to reach him, but Jake Haener, you're the man. You are awesome. You are a leader. You are a student. You are a gentleman. And I think you're going to be a great success throughout your football career. And I hope that everything's all right tonight. And I know that whatever it takes to get better, you'll do. So, Jake, USC fans are Jake Haener fans. And we were proud of you and everything that you do, and will continue to be. To our USC fans, again, what an exciting time. Think about where we've come in the past year and where we're going, and it's really exciting. So, everybody, once again, thank you for joining us. Fight on, Trojans.